Oh, yeah, we are back. Yes, we are. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Talk some Phillies. Talked a little Union going down, and then the big move in the NFL today. Frank Reich gets fired, and the Colts, at least on the interim basis, hire Jeff Saturday, who had not had any previous coaching experience. Of course, played a long time, but no coaching experience. So the Eagles had off yesterday, guys, at a bye week. And you got a chance. It was kind of nice in the sense to be able to just really assess and dig into the other games yesterday and what went on. And one of the surprises yesterday was the Bills got up on the Jets and then coughed it up and ended up losing 20-17. Josh Allen had a couple of really bad picks in the game. And we'll get a little bit more into the Kansas City game, but Kansas City had a real chippy game for sure last night against Tennessee, and they end up winning. Coming back and winning that game really in large part behind Mahomes' legs. But the question I have for you guys is, like I said before we took a timeout, we usually, it's almost automatic. Well, the Bills and the Chiefs and then the Eagles. Do we need to stop doing that? I mean, the Eagles right now are the odds.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
I was saying that last week.
Yeah, Barry,
we talked about that last week. The only reason why I said our team wouldn't put our team as the number one team is the quarterback position. You got Mahomes and you have Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah.
So when you have Allen and those last names, they're going to put you ahead of him no matter how good you think you are. I think we're a better overall team than the Chiefs are already. Mm-hmm. And this goes to show you any given Sunday you can beat. I think that, when you watch Allen in that squad and you look at the Eagles in their squad, I think we have more as a collective of players than both of those teams. We're more consistent than most of those teams. Fundamentally, we're better than most of those teams. But quarterback position is such a dynamic position that it's hard to count those guys out as a driving factor on how good the team is.
Right.
Well, listen, I think one of the knocks that's laid on the Eagles is, well, they haven't played anybody, is one of the things that people say. So you now look at a Vikings team that has just one loss on the season, and that was to the Eagles. Okay. You look at a Cowboys team that has, what, two losses?
Two losses, yes.
Okay. The Eagles handed them one of those two losses.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I get that there's Pittsburgh mixed in and there's Houston mixed in, et cetera, et cetera. But the notion that the Eagles haven't played anybody, and I also see a lot of teams that week in and week out either aren't laser focused, aren't prepared well enough, or just don't execute well enough to survive week in and week out against teams that they were favored against. Okay. The Eagles, up until this point, through 8 games, through basically half the season, show up every week. And it's not always perfect. It wasn't perfect Thursday. We all know that. But they do enough to win.
That's right.
And that's the thing that annoys me, where people just, they don't play anybody. First of all, there's a lot of bad teams in the NFL, period.
Well,
so
hold
it's
on.
not like every week it's two juggernauts playing one another.
All right, Rob, that's great you said that, because, all right, look at the Bills and who they've played. So they played the Rams, a bad Rams team. They beat
they're
a bad
not good,
Rams
the
team.
Rams. They are not. Yep.
They beat a Titans team. They beat
with no
Dolphins
passing
team.
game.
Right. They beat the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins beat them. Then they barely beat a Ravens team. They beat the Steelers. They lost. They beat the Chiefs. That's one good. They beat a bad Packers team, and they lost to a Jets team.
Yeah.
So they've really played only one or two good teams.
Right.
And why aren't they saying it about them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I think it's selective. It's a carryover from last year, I think, for starters. And I think it's just sort of a selective thing that people do. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they've played a brutal schedule or a super hard schedule by any stretch. I'm not saying that, but it to just sort of diminish what the Eagles have done, I just don't think is fair. And we'll find out here that this schedule's got, the Eagles schedule is upcoming. The upcoming piece of this, they should be able to take care of business against Washington. Although Washington's, I thought they were going to end up winning that game against Minnesota yesterday. Yeah. They're better with Heineke than they were with Wentz, even though Heineke makes killer mistakes too. The Colts, I don't know what that looks like now.
Well, see, once again, look at this Chiefs team. Look who they played. All right, they beat up. No, the Chiefs beat the Cardinals. We beat the Cardinals. They beat the Chargers. They're all right. The Colts beat them. They beat a bad Buccaneers team.
How did they lose to the Colts?
Right. They lost to the. I mean, they beat the Raiders. They beat the Raiders by 1 point. By 1 point. They beat the Bills. I mean, the Bills beat them. The Bills beat them. They beat the 49ers. And they beat the Titans. It's not like they've beat a whole bunch of powerhouse teams either. Mm-hmm. They've lost to a team that sucks.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, man. I mean, let's stop. Let's give our boys some. Let's give them some power to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Give them they just do.
Yeah.
Give it to them, man.
Yeah. Look, there's, you look at the NFC, you look at the league, and you have Kansas City, who's good, but I don't think they're unbeatable. I mean, not having Tyreek Hill does have an effect on them. The Bills have now faltered a couple of times for as good as talented as they are. The Vikings have won 6 straight, but we saw them up close and personal. And we saw what the Eagles were able to do to them. I know they're a better team than they were, but they've won 6 straight nonetheless.
And all 6 of their wins have been by 1 score.
Very tight. Yeah, well, you look at it one of 2 ways. Either they know how to win close games or not. But I hear you. I like it. I keep pointing this out to you guys. I like that the NFC East is good. I think it's going to keep the Eagles on their toes. And you still have to beat the Giants twice and the Cowboys.
Yep.
You're going to get them 3 more times. And one of those games you're at Dallas, and it's the third of a back-to-back-to-back. That's a very difficult spot to be in.
Yeah.
So, I don't think the Eagles go undefeated, but this notion that they automatically get slotted as the 3rd team, I just don't agree with. I don't think that's the case. I think
after this weekend, I think they are squarely at the head of the pack right now until further notice.
Yeah.
They've proven that the light switch goes on and off when they have to, when they need to, when they seems like they get bored, usually in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah.
That's a great analysis on what happens. That's a great analysis.
Like they get bored and all of a sudden the light switch goes back on in the 4th quarter and say, okay, enough of this. Let's put this one to bed. And that's a great attribute to have, especially when it gets down to crunch time in big games. But in terms of how they got to where they are now, we'd be sitting here ripping them if they didn't beat the teams they were supposed to beat. Kansas City was supposed to beat the Colts. They lost that game. Buffalo was supposed to beat the Jets. They lost that game. Mm-hmm. The Eagles were supposed to beat most of the teams on their schedule. They beat them and then some. And 2 teams that were iffy, Minnesota and Dallas, they beat them. So at this point of the season, 9 weeks into a season, what else do you want? They're the only team standing undefeated right now. So give them their due. They don't make out the schedules. The league makes out the schedules, The bottom line is get to the finish line the best you can and put yourself in a position to get to the ultimate game, the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't say it any better. And not only that, I mean, if you look at them statistically, what they've been able to do, I mean, in really most of the really important categories, the run defense is definitely not one of them. That's the one exception, which we'll talk about. But, in terms of scoring, they're top 4 or 5. In terms of allowing points per game, they're top 4, top 5. They take the ball away. They create sacks. These are the things that coaches talk about all the time. We need to take the ball away. We need to protect the ball. The Eagles protect the ball really well. We need to get to the quarterback. They do that really well. We need to be good in the trenches. They have a really good offensive line. Mm-hmm. We need good quarterback play. We saw that with the Colts. If you don't, you're out. They're getting good quarterback play. They have a diverse offense where they can hurt you in the run game. They can hurt you in the pass game. Like all of that stuff is there, for the Eagles. It's all there. That's why I don't sweat necessarily who they're playing every single week. They're a good team.
I've been telling you guys for the longest. It's not necessarily who the team they are playing is, who the obstacle they're playing. Is more so what they do in-house and how they work on their individual performance more so than what it is. I mean, of course, they're going to take a game plan into playing a team. They're going to look at how to exploit this team, what they can do to find their weaknesses. They're going to do that. But for the most part, the Eagles are playing against the Eagles. When they don't make mistakes as far as jumping off sides or having penalties. When they tackle well. When they consistently run the ball when they want to run the ball and not that they have to need to run the ball. They do when they want to do it. They pass when they want to pass. They do virtually anything they want to do against their opponent that they feel as though they want to do. And that's the difference between a team that just pigeonholed like the Titans into having to run the ball every single play.
Right.
Not only that, Barrett, but in practice, they play against better competition in practice than they do in games.
Been saying it for the longest.
If you think about it, the defense is playing against one of the best offensive lines in the game. The cornerbacks, who are Pro Bowl caliber cornerbacks are playing against two of the better wide receivers in the game in terms of physicality and technical running of routes. You got a quarterback who's as hot as any quarterback in the league right now. Okay, the linebackers are going up against one of the best tight ends in the game. Their practice sessions are probably more valuable to them than the game itself. The game basically is boring to them because of who they're playing.
Exactly. Rob, look at how Jason Kelsey, he's got to play against, when Davis was healthy, bang against Kelsey. Kelsey had to bang against Davis.
Yep.
All day in practice.
Yep.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And Fletcher.
And Hargrave and Milton Williams.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a left tackle going against Hassan Reddick and now
Absolutely.
Robert Quinn every single day.
Yep.
You got a quarterback having to throw balls against the three best as a trio corners in the NFL. I mean, come on, man. You got one of the best.
Iron.
Yeah, one of the best cover linebackers in the league in White, and one of the biggest thudders in the league with Edwards.
Yeah.
When you're playing against that, I'm telling you, I knew.
No, I hear you.
Every day in practice, I was playing against the creme de la creme. Big Ben had to go against Troy Polamalu in practice, and Troy not being where he's supposed to be, but ending up where he's supposed to be. You got guys coming off the corner with James Harrison, and Porter off the edge every single day. Imagine us doing that. I'm practicing against James Harrison every single day. He didn't know how to turn it off. As soon as he stepped on the practice field, he turned it on. And that some bitch wouldn't come off until he stepped off the practice field. This is every day could be a walkthrough. He's going full speed. So full speed every single play. Once you get into that type of mentality and train like that, you don't know how to turn it off. And that's exactly what's going on. These guys are practicing against some of the best players. Can you imagine being Robert Quinn and Hassan Reddick going against Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson every day? Man, I can't beat this dude, man. That's why BG said, man, it's almost easier when I go into a game because I have to go against Lane Johnson every day.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking at the lines for next week, and they're double-digit favorite again over
against Washington.
Yeah, that game's 10.5. The Eagles are favored on Monday night. 10.5. And apropos of nothing, you know what the Thursday night game is?
What?
Falcons Panthers.
And I'll watch. I'll sit there and watch.
This should be a good game.
I know we'll all watch it, but oof.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
bad game every week.
I'll sit there and watch it.
Well, they said the same thing about ours.
They did. Yeah.
They said the thing about our Thursday night game. Oh man, why are the Eagles playing against this team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, listen, I hear you. But no, I just think, as we're going through that last night, or yesterday, all the games and whatnot, it just shows you that we have to stop with this notion that the Eagles aren't in the same league with these teams. So anyway, that just my take.
We think our quarterback isn't in the same realm as those quarterbacks. And
that's exactly
where
what
we are. That's where we are.
Let's come back and let's dig a little bit deeper into the positives, including the quarterback, and the negatives here. Some of the things that concern you, more concerns than negatives with the Eagles. Little Lane Johnson update on how much longer he wants to play too. So we'll discuss that. Everything else.
Also, Rob, when did the players get back? And we'll talk about that when we get back. Do you know when they came back? What was their days off or anything?
Oh, what was Sirianni's schedule? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if
I thought they come back Wednesday.
So he gave them that full time. Yeah.
What?
I thought they come back Wednesday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Need some time off.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
And is there a little rust there?
Tuesday's their day off anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Monday's usually a maintenance day. So even if they went in, it's just maintenance.
Yeah.
And
All right, we'll discuss it. We'll hit it all. We'll do it all when we get back, and we're going to dig into the entire week 9 coming up, and then week 8, or actually week 9 that just went down, and then into next week as well. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem you may face. So ask yourself this question. Do you have any issues on your property or in your yard with your trees? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, we are in storm season, hurricanes, etc. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848. 610-850-2848 or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.